Truth, lies, shenanigans.
All right, this one is me. So a little lighter. Well, not really, but
Not really.
all right. So renowned heart surgeon, one-time presidential candidate, and Trump's HUD secretary Ben Carson recently came down with coronavirus. Um, Now he, Trump, and the MyPillow CEO Mike Lindell have been touting a therapeutic cure using a toxic plant.
Yo, I can't believe this shit.
Wrong video there. Let's
He
get the right one.
just want to go back to
The
snooty,
president is
It's
backing a new
snotty,
unproven potential
snooty.
treatment for the coronavirus. It's called oleandrin, and it's an extract from a plant, oleander, that can be highly dangerous. Mike Lindell is the CEO and founder of MyPillow. You have no medical background. You're not a scientist. A guy called you in April, said he had this product. You are now on the board and going to make money from the sale of this product. The reason he reached out to you is because you have the ear of the president who did
Tim
the test.
Anderson.
You'd have to talk to, I guess you'd have to have Dr. Carson and then the company, that all the
You
tests
said
that
you
were
saw
done
the
on your
test.
Yeah, so, well, Carson did decide to use his cure that he'd been touting, and guess what? Surprise, surprise, it didn't work. Carson found himself gravely ill. Gravely ill. So Trump offered his multiclonal antibody therapy, which, by the way, pro-lifers should be aware, was tested in cells derived from aborted fetal tissue.
Ooh.
And now Ben Carson says he's out of the woods and he's better. He's getting better. So, my question to you guys, should there be consequences for being the proverbial snake oil salesman, taking a profit at the expense of American lives, or should they get off without consequence? Consequence having suffered. I mean, he's got COVID, so did he get off? Robbie?
Uh, it's not the first time that we hear a commercial from the White House for Big Pharma, for their friends in Big Pharma, and that there should absolutely be consequences with that, because that message should be derived from the medical experts that work with the POTUS. That's where he should be getting that information, not from his snake oil buddies, his CEOs, those who stand to profit from the sale of a product that may not have been tested completely, that still hasn't received its FDA approval. It's been absolutely shameful, deplorable, and completely unethical. It puts people at risk with some of their misinformation, like what I was talking about, the hydroxychloroquine in the quick fire. There are lupus sufferers that can't patient because Trump has touted it as a cure for COVID, which it is not. So it's I, if it's coming from the POTUS or someone in a position of leadership, it should be at the very least reckless endangerment. But in this case, with how it's been completely mismanaged, I would love to see various states go after him for manslaughter, murder charges, because it has been completely mishandled. It's in a dangerous fashion.
Lizzie?
I mean, why would anyone pay attention to the pillow, the My
Yeah,
Pillow
see,
guy? Like he doesn't even have the best pillow on the market, first and foremost. So anything that he has to say. But also, weren't we here like what, 5-6 months ago with the African wannabe COVID doctor, selling all of her snake oil, Stella Emanuel, and she was talking about, COVID and
demon
a
sperm.
whole demon
Yeah.
sperm and a whole other stuff. Um, and so it's just, I don't know how you regulate how people come out and say they have a cure for XYZ. I mean, this is a free market, free society. So I don't know. And a lot of these people who say these things don't live in the United States. But I do think that, someone like Ben Carson should know better. And if you are listening, if you are watching, we don't know what Ben Carson took. Like he could be saying, he took something from the pillow guy. He took this other, drug, what have you, that, he got on a
That's right.
special list
They are
because he was
liars
rich.
anyway.
We
Mhm.
don't know any of that. And he is protected by HIPAA laws from us getting that information. But even still, he could be out there being a snake oil artist himself. Listen to your doctors. Listen to the known experts. If there really was this little, cure, antidote on the side, wouldn't you think that someone else besides Ben Carson, someone else besides the guy who is trying to sell you pillows, in the middle of the night at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, wouldn't you think more people would have an idea of what this is and how it can be accessible to you? Like, stop falling for this, overnight, okay, quick protocol. Let me just get something quick and be done with it. And again, we really don't know what Trump took while he had
We don't.
COVID.
I
We
mean,
really don't even know
that's true.
what
We
his
don't.
symptoms were, how sick he was. So don't fall for it. Do not fall for it, people. Don't. And how come Herman Cain didn't get any of this good stuff?
Yeah, I don't
Remember,
think they had that treatment at that point.
well, initially Herman Cain said he took the what's the drug for the lupus drug?
Oh, the
Hydroxychloroquine.
hydroxychloroquine.
Initially, they were saying that he took that, and he still is no longer with us.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I think Anderson Cooper had it right. These people are just in it to make money. I mean, and that's their goal. And the problem is he had the ear of the president. They have the ear of the president. So the president has his 39 million or whatever, it's some ridiculous number of followers. So he tweets out this hydroxychloroquine. He tweets out this Orleander treatment or whatever, and
oleander.
oh,
There's a book, White Oleander.
Oleander treatment. And so he has all he has to do is tweet it out, and these guys make a ton of money off of people who are just stupid and don't do their research, or people who are just tuned into Donald Trump and listens to whatever he says. I mean, again, he had 70 million votes, more than 70 million votes.
73.
So, I mean, people listen to what he says, and so they're just out to make money. I mean, it is all snake oil. Just, I mean, this anti clonal therapy, multiclonal therapy, is obviously a good therapy. It's obviously working if it is true. But the problem is it's not available to everyone. So we
And
got
it
all.
has not been approved. It has not been
It's
approved by
not
the
been approved,
FDA.
and it's not available to everyone. So the only people that get this treatment that's apparently working very well is Trump and his friends and people who are willing to test it out on themselves to survive. I mean, if it were me, I'd try to take it too. If I had COVID and I was deathly ill, I'd try it. But again, it's kind of ridiculous. It's all about the rich getting richer and the rich helping the rich.
One interesting thing that you shared about the Regeneron is that they use fetal tissue.
Yes.
So how does that fit with the ideology of Trump's supporters? Okay, so yes, this can fix you, but comes from dead babies.
Yeah, they tested it on fetal tissue.
Do as I
They tested
say.
it on fetal tissue.
Do as I say, not as I do. I don't know if you've seen over the past, I would say 5-10 years, Robbie, but there have been a few anti-abortion senators in this country who have been very outspoken about how they are against Planned Parenthood, how they're against abortions or whatever. And then it comes out, their ex-girlfriends, their ex-mistresses come out and say, oh, he tried to encourage me. He tried to force me to have an abortion. So it's like, do as I say, not as I do. This doesn't apply to me and my family.
Mm-hmm.
This applies to you out there. And Gingy's going to come up for a quick second, but I want to, compare this to diabetes and diabetics, because I see this as being very similar in terms of the medicine that's involved. A lot of people in this country believe in holistic medication. They don't believe, in a lot of medication from pharmaceutical companies. They don't have the money to pay their doctors. So they believe in a lot of remedies. Woo, 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 woo. They believe in a lot of remedies, a lot of holistic medication that you can't get at the pharmacy. A lot of things that are made from the earth, that are made from plants, that are made in your kitchen or whatever. None of that is going to cure my diabetes. And I don't know how many times I have to tell people this. I'm a type 1 diabetic. I have a pancreas that doesn't work. If I don't take insulin, I probably have 45 hours. I'm sorry, 48 hours, and then I'm dead. And that's not a very easy 48 hours. It's a very painful 48 hours. But you see a lot of this talk in, people who have chronic conditions where they rely on medicine, and they have people on the outside trying to encourage them. Well, no, maybe you could take this. My cousin, my auntie,
Mm-hmm.
my great aunt, they got cured because of this. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. And I know I could not be cured because of that. So do not listen to the guy that is doing infomercials making pillows. He is not going to cure you of
And to
COVID.
your
That
point,
is not going to happen.
and to your point, it's those Trump followers that are easily convinced. They're gullible. They're easily taken advantage of because of the lack of knowledge and oftentimes the lack of education.
And every day we read a story about one of those Trump followers who have been steadfast in their belief that it's not that serious. They don't have to wear a mask, or they can take these alternative medications, and then they die 2 weeks later.
Or they come back surviving and said, "Oh, I made a mistake. I was wrong." But because
Yeah,
they're listening to the wrong people.
yeah. Be
I'll be
smart.
glad when he's gone. I mean, January 20th can't come fast enough for me. Gianni, comments online? Questions?
Yes. So Jacqueline Robinson said medical advice from the same guy who helped to pay the 2 million bail of a teenage murderer.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
We have to get
We're going to
into
talk
that.
about that. We're going to get into that too, but that's absolutely right. He did help.
Yep, that's true. Also, Kevin Thaxton said there are always going to be opportunistic scammers that take advantage of a society in dire strait to the gallows.
Mm-hmm. Snake oil. To the
Daria
gallows, kill
Winter
him. He
said,
wants to kill him. That's good. Okay, go with that.
kill him.
What?
Daria Winter said, so a man does not wear a mask to prevent the virus is an expert on telling you how to cure it.
Okay. Right. Preach, Daria, preach.
And then lastly, Mike Winter, he says stupidity won't go away on January 20th. That comment's for you, Nia.
Yeah, but it won't go away,
It
but
won't.
we can put them in the closet, if you will. We can put them in the back of the closet.
But at least they're not going to be listening to stupidity. At least stupidity doesn't have a platform, won't have as large a platform anymore.
Power.
Right.
It won't be coming directly from the
Yeah.
office of the president.
Right.
If we can
Exactly.
keep that mother on Joe, that's enough.
Exactly. All right, Johnny, thank you so much. Any questions online for us?
Let's see. Do we have any
I
questions?
see one from Daria. So a man does not wear a mask to prevent the virus. Oh, you did read that question already. All right.
Jacqueline has a question. She
What was
said,
Jacqueline's
how come Walter Reed doctors had to sign NDAs? Some don't even know if IQ 45 was. She said some don't even know that IQ 45 was actually sick. How come does Walter Reed doctors have to sign NDAs?
So
Well, I think that has to do with HIPAA. If you are a patient in a hospital, you are guarded against people giving your information out to the public. Like, it's confidential. Whatever type of treatment that you have, whatever you're going through, whatever conversations that you have, whatever diagnosis that you have, that is confidential between you and your doctor. And I agree. Like, I think that they should have some type of NDA that they have to fill out. But that then goes into the transparency of the office of the presidency.
But NDA is slightly different. It's slightly different than HIPAA laws. So HIPAA, by the way, is Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act in the U.S. That, again, as Lizzie says, that doctors can't disclose any kind of medical information without approval from the patient or their guardian or whatever. But the NDA is slightly different. He can see.
But if I'm a celebrity, I don't want, if I'm admitted into a hospital, I don't want some nurse selling all of my information to the public. Like, I have no problem with the NDA. I have no problem with that. Once when you're in the hospital, you're in a vulnerable state. And that should not be exposed by people trying to get money, by people trying to go to TMZ, People Magazine, or whatever. So I have no problem with the NDA. My problem is with the White House and not being transparent about, because this is the president, and not being transparent about what's going on. Like, remember when his doctor would give these press conferences, he wasn't altogether truthful. Like, he would dance around all of the questions that were being asked of him. And these weren't confidentiality questions. These were basic questions that, you would expect that one would answer about the president of the United States. Is he healthy? Well, let me just go to my medical journal and read off this blah, blah, blah. No, bruh. Is he healthy? Is he crazy? Like, let's just know the real.
All right, thanks, Gianni. All right, next hot topic.